Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Second round of playoffs are here, and let me give you some players that I love this week. Justin Herbert's been on fire this year. You're going to play him too. But his matchup is much, much better. Houston is awful, but will he even have to play in the fourth quarter? You still play him. Probably one of the best quarterbacks this week. Matthew Stafford going against the Minnesota Vikings. I think this is a great matchup. The Vikings haven't been able to stop a quarterback or a receiver so far this year. I definitely think that you fire up Matthew Stafford. Moving on to wide receiver. T. Higgins. Yes, I know T. Higgins had a bad game last week against San Francisco, but in the last 5 weeks, he's been top 10. I think he has a bounce back game against the Baltimore Ravens, who are 27th against the wide receiver. He should be a solid start. Antonio Brown, it's kind of the last man standing at this point. He's coming back from not only his COVID suspension, but also an injury. He should be good to go. And with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans out, Brady's got to throw it to somebody. Fire up your Antonio Brown this week if he's active. Hunter Renfrow, wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. I definitely think you're going to want to fire him up this week. He is pretty much the favorite target of Derek Carr with Darren Waller out. Hunter Renfrow should do some work. I know he had a bad game last week, but he has also been top 10 these last 5 weeks. So fire him up this week. I definitely think that he is going to return on dividends. Underrated wide receiver for sure. And last but not least, we have Van Jefferson, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. The Vikings are terrible against the wide receiver. It can't be all Cooper Kupp, even though Cooper Kupp's probably going to have 15 targets. I think that Van Jefferson is going to be very viable in this offense. Odell Beckham should get some work too, but Van Jefferson has been slept on for long enough. He needs to be in some lineups. Good matchup, fire him up. Moving on to the running back position. Cordell Patterson had a terrible week last week, but I think you throw him right back in your starting lineup. The Atlanta offense doesn't have much for production, and he is viable in the run game and the pass game. Going against the Detroit Lions, that definitely doesn't scare you. Cordell Patterson should be right back in your starting lineup. Moving on to James Robinson. He had a great game last week going against the Texans. He's going to have a great game going against the Jets. Jets are one of the worst teams in the league against the run. I definitely think you fire this guy up. Especially now that Urban Meyer's gone, I think this offense is going to move a little better and they know their best players. Get it to James Robinson. It's not that hard. Next up, Ronald Jones. With Leonard Fournette out, I think Ronald Jones is the man that's going to step up. I hope you had him on your team already because he was flying off the waiver wire. Ronald Jones is a must start this week. Tom Brady loves to have a running back that can do both. He's not the best pass catcher, but he's going to try. Fire up your Ronald Jones this week. And last but not least, Alexander Mattison. He is a good running back behind a fantastic running back. And Dalvin Cook is actually out this week due to COVID. It's extremely unfortunate, but for those of you who have Alexander Mattison, you're definitely going to want to fire him up. Now, he doesn't have the best matchup going against the Los Angeles Rams, but at this point in the year, you need somebody that's going to get a majority of the touches, and that's what the Vikings do. They find their guy, and they run him into the ground. Alexander Mattison is the man you want this week. Fire him up. Moving on to the tight end position. Rob Gronkowski's been great this year, and with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin down, Brady's got to throw it somewhere, and it can't all go to Antonio Brown. Check out Rob Gronkowski this week. He is probably set to get double-digit fantasy points. Look for him in the end zone. Moving on to Dallas Goedert. The last 2 times Dallas Goedert has been on the football field, he has been top 4. This man is getting the targets, and the tight end landscape is very diminished at the moment, so you definitely want to play Dallas Goedert. Anytime you can find a tight end that's going to be one of the highest targets on his team, you got to play him. I think this is a solid matchup. So fire up your Dallas Goedert. Hopefully he doesn't fumble off his heel this time. Come on, man. That was a terrible drop. He'll do better this week. But can we really complain with 135 yards? Moving on to the defenses. The Chargers are a fantastic defense this week against Houston, especially if Brandon Cooks doesn't play. Brandon Cooks is currently on the COVID-19 list, and there's a chance he doesn't play. If he doesn't play, I think that the Chargers are an incredible defense to play. If he does play, I think they're going to be pretty solid, but not as good as if he wasn't playing. Brandon Cooks is a great wide receiver, but without him, their offense is probably going to stall. And last but not least, we have the Philadelphia Eagles going against the New York Giants. It's a division rivalry, so the score is going to be low, and Daniel Jones isn't there, so the score is going to be even lower. Now, I didn't think that that could be possible, but looks like the replacement is not getting the starting job next year. I know that the Eagles defense played bad last week going against Washington, but I don't think they repeat that this week. I think that the Giants are a worse team, and they're going to prove that this week. They're looking into the future. Maybe a quarterback. So that's going to do it for this week's Loves. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. If you have any questions, hit me up. Good luck in your matchup this week. Peace.